I don't give a damn about Marvel.
You what?
I don't care about those Infinity Wars, She-Hulk spin-offs. You know, the junk that a multi-billion-dollar company dumps hundreds of millions of dollars into to make them as mid as possible. Now imagine my shock when I discovered that the Spectacular Spider-Man is not only excellent, but quite honestly, one of the most meticulously crafted pieces of media I have ever had the pleasure of watching. Aside from hardcore pull, with the retrospect of what I know now, I get it. This isn't a hot take in the slightest. Pretty sure Pluto is harder than my take. But nevertheless, within that Marvel hatred stood a general non-interest in Spider-Man and all stuff related to him from me. I mean, I've heard of him obviously, and knew roughly what his story was on that entire spiel. It's Peter Parker, man. You know, the guy that slings web and gets all the hoes.
Bitches.
And J.K. Simmons, I mean, J. Jonah Jameson is a good tier. So good, and in fact, that when I watched Invincible before figuring out that he also voices Omni-Man.
Where's William Markham? You were supposed to fuck him off an hour ago.
I still, even after that, in the later seasons, I can only hear Jameson asking for photos and not Omni-Man on Jameson as one might expect. That's how goated he is. Subscribe or I evict your spleen. Anyways, holy god, is this show excellent! So I was introduced to this show like 2 months ago when this random video popped up in my recommended of what I would later come to find being Gwen Stacy after a makeover, coming with the rest of her friends to this hotel for Valentine's Day. Of course, the only thing that I remembered in this video was... After that, it piqued my interest to try and find the rest of the episode, which I found with relative ease. Seriously, all the fucking episodes are on YouTube. What is this? One thing led to another and oh, I just binge watched the entire show. How the fuck did this happen? Suffice it to say, I was very impressed with the show, and damn, I also wish now that those retarded Disney executives didn't can this show for like no reason. This is some bullshit, man. If I ever become a billionaire, restoring this show is going on the list that I would like to do lickety-split. Hold on. Let me geek out over some of the stuff that this show did absolutely right. Number 1, tightly packed. Spectacular Spider-Man is all show, no fluff. Imagine prime Ronnie Coleman in 2003. No unnecessary fat anywhere. It's so tightly knit, in fact, that it sometimes becomes its own detriment. Like, the clips don't have enough time to go through the scenes, so it doesn't exactly feel like it's rushed per se, but rather quickly paced, and being from a dying breed of people that have attention spans, it is slightly too fast for me. Like, let's take a season 1, episode 8 for example. This episode juggles the following: the origin of Dr. Octavius and his work for Norman Osborn, Green Goblin stealing something from Oscorp, Spider-Man having to constantly fight Doc Ock throughout the entire episode, going to Coney Island as Peter Parker and dividing his time between Gwen and Liz, all topped with the breakup of Flash and Liz at the end of the episode. From a writer's standpoint, it's fucking beautiful, almost like a work of art. But as the watcher, my brain kind of melts looking at this. Then again, I'm merely complaining that the episode's worth like 40 minutes, so I guess I'm asking for too much. I have to massively applaud Spectacular Spider-Man for 2 aspects: the insanely consistent continuity and the very intricate in-world details that translate into the plot of the episode. Like, take this example. In an episode in the first season, I forgot exactly which one, Spider-Man casually webs these 2 up onto the streetlight together. Oh, Peter here should have transformed into a bird considering how much of a wingman he is. And then in season 2 episode 10, these same 2 appear and we see that they progress their relationship. Like, why the fuck did we see this happen? Like, it didn't have to happen. But it did, and I applaud them for bothering to keep this random-ass continuity. There are a bunch of examples of this throughout the show. At some point, this actually works against the in-world logic of the show, because need I remind you that this takes place in New York? You know, the place with like 15 million people. It isn't exactly realistic that you would see these people on a semi-regular basis, but I digress, it's cartoon logic, so I don't care. Also, the time progression is excellently done. We start the show off in late summer, and season 2 ends off just before spring break. Yes, I know that it was planned to continue after that. I repeat, it's a shame that we never got to see what the world would have developed into. I can't really comment about how true the characters are to their comic book or their media counterparts, cause, you know, I hate Marvel. But even as standalone characters, I very much enjoyed Gwen, Liz, Mary Jane, Flash, Harry, Jameson, Norman Osborn, and surprisingly enough, I cared for the villain side of his story when I expected that I would only care about the Peter side of his character. This is where my opinion kinda diverges from the norm, because I see a lot of people complaining about this love triangle which basically exists ever since Flash and Liz broke up in season 1 between Peter, Gwen, and Liz. And I'm not gonna lie, it pisses me off. Yes, it is annoying, and I don't get why Peter thinks it's easier to play this dumbass charade rather than choose one to be his girlfriend and let the other one be a friend. I just don't get this guy. I'm watching a man drown while I'm dying of thirst here. This man got all the baddies. I swear, man. At one point, he had like 5 girlfriends with their eyes on him. Like, where the fuck did I go wrong? Peter, come on, help a brother out. You know what I'm saying, fam.
No.
But regardless, I don't hate it because it's the fault of the writers for dragging it out or making it annoying because it's poorly written, something like Hamlet in Invincible Season 1. No, it's annoying because it's realistically written to be annoying. Like, this junk doesn't get resolved overnight, nor is it straightforward in its solution. Whenever I see Peter promise not to be late for Liz again, or think about telling Gwen how he feels but just not doing it, I do get pissed because he never does anything. But hey, that's what he decided at that very moment, and that's what events transpired. Whoop-de-fucking-do. People get pissed off because real life stuff was put into this fantasy world of yours with a swinging arachnid, man. There are probably only like 2 things that I found off-putting while watching this, and both are very minor nitpicks. First one is that this really doesn't feel like a believable representation of New York. It doesn't look nothing like it. Like, we don't see a single building which actually exists, except maybe Coney Island, and the fact that this city feels more like a barren wasteland. Seriously, where is everyone? The streets are most of the time completely empty, and if there is someone there, it's like 20 people at most. Again, I get it. It's not the main focus of the show, and it would be a waste of money to design and animate all of those one-off characters. I do much prefer the route they took, where they had like 50 character models and made them all reoccurring characters. Once again, I have to applaud how tightly written the show is and just how fun the actual plots and characters are. I was not bored watching a single episode. Sure, there were weaker ones, but none of them were actually annoying or bad to watch. I actually think that fucking J. Jonah Jameson was my favorite character, but given how little times he appeared, I might have to go with Peter being my de facto favorite, despite making some questionable decisions as Peter Parker. I also like basically all of his love interests. Even Sally, who while being an absolute bitch, was fun to watch bitch and moan about stupid high school horseshit drama. God damn it. I'm torn between Gwen and MJ being my favorite, though Liz comes in a very close 3rd place. So yeah, I don't have much more to say about Spectacular Spider-Man. I loved everything about it, and maybe I'll make more videos on it in the future, who knows.